everybody. What's going on? Welcome to yet another day of our lead up to the Great Conjunction. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Going early bird, got set up right before sunset. I'm panting a little bit just because I went live rather quick. But yeah, Saturn, Jupiter in the same frame, and even I had to just tilt the camera just a little bit, but it's actually in perfect view right now. Saturn top left, obviously, Jupiter bottom right. You can see all the moons of Jupiter, or the 4 of them that are visible. Started off with some cactus dance, making sure that everything's looking good here. Definitely remember to hit that 4K. Hopping in the chat. Debbie Carson, what's happening? Welcome. Genghis Khan, and Rastaman Lives. And Marky Rowe, what's happening? And everybody's streaming in to yet another ride. What are we, December 15th, 6 p.m. on the dot, East Coast, edge of space. Let's get into it. I'm going to go grab my coffee that I've been brewing, and let's do the song Grown to Like You. We'll talk. And yeah, also, I know, Genghis, you left me a comment about art and Electric Universe. But definitely, if you guys have questions tonight, get them ready, and we'll try and have a nice 2-hour show tonight and talk about some stuff, and we'll sketch some things as well. All right, it's looking nice. And also, last thing is there are going to be tons of satellite passings tonight, so I think what I'm going to do is just keep it in wide mode the whole time, or most of the time. After we do we'll do a quick zoom in on Jupiter and Saturn, but mostly I want to keep it wide so we get all the transits coming through. I don't even want to try and track them because there are 10 of them. So let's just enjoy and see if they pass through. Just keep a sharp eye out for it. all right. That was a little Grown to Like You. And that's going to be part of the album that I put out this month. Once I'm off of work, I'm going to like update some of the tracks on Bandcamp. But just welcoming everybody streaming in right now. I see Ivan. I see Arum Vorax. What's going on? I see more Jello, please. Always like that name. So funny. Shiloh Aura. I hope it's not too cloudy on the 21st. It's our 35th anniversary. Congratulations. And we want to see this once in a thousand year star, I assume Star of Bethlehem, which is just the overlap of Saturn and Jupiter. But they're not really going to fully overlap. They're going to be, I mean, actually, I'm kind of shocked at how much closer they are tonight. So if you've been tracking with me for the last few nights, you can take screenshots of every stream and then overlap them and kind of see how close they've gotten over day, which I will probably end up doing maybe at the end of this whole cycle. Even though, like, what's going to happen is that once the conjunction happens on the 21st, there's going to be a lot more of these shots because they're obviously not going to immediately drift apart. So there'll be kind of the tail end out of the Great Conjunction, the great outro. It is a super crispy view tonight, I gotta say, and the sun is just setting, so it's still kind of blue in the sky, and it's going to get even nicer. Astrolabium, what's happening? Eric Jorgensen, what's going on? And hope I didn't miss anybody. Let me know if I did. Onslow, what's happening? Welcome. Eric says, Dominion Voting's security provider called Solar Winds got hacked. Foreshadowing Biden's dark winter. Maybe they're gonna... I don't know. I think my kind of bottom line when it comes to catastrophism is that the powers that exist, even the most evil ones, want happy, shopping denizens. As happy as possible. They don't want tons of catastrophe, you know? Even this global pandemic is a small amount of people considering. And that's not to be, to make it insignificant, but considering how many people exist on Earth, the numbers of total catastrophe are always so much less than the actual, the fruitfulness and the bounty of the nature of the human system and species in general. It's just crazy species right now, like integrating and changing and mixing and remixing. It's pretty nuts. Which one is Bethlehem? Right, so yeah, the Star of Bethlehem, the story of seeing this majorly bright object in the sky 100 or 1,000 years ago, or, in some records 2,000 years ago, is in one narrative is supposed to have been this great conjunction, which is when Jupiter and Saturn get very, very close. With the naked eye, you tend to see it as one bright point. Now, will it be brighter than like Sirius on a really bright night, or like Venus? When you're really taking a look at Venus, it's so bright it blows out the camera. So I don't know, it could be that. Either way, it's going to look amazing, regardless. Right here, we're already like 5-6 days out, and I've never seen a shot like this, and probably will never get a shot like this ever again. Especially lucky right now during winter in Florida, getting clear skies and no clouds is unbelievable. Let's see, Eric Jorgensen says, a mild CME wouldn't damage the grid that much. Perfect infrastructure spending. Well, a lot of different ways of doing that, right? I've looked into a lot of it, and every time I'm like, wow, that's a very select few that get injured or hurt or die. But then the outrage is massive, right? The kind of repercussions of very small incidences is what is recursive. What doesn't seem to happen is, the world wars didn't end the world, and not just World War, but like all the wars, they don't tend to leak, really, because even if the population numbers are fabricated to a certain degree, the human race seems like it's doing okay in the long haul, and species in general have this kind of life cycle that we tend to see happen over and over and over again. All the scares, all the big scary things don't seem to happen. Doesn't mean I don't believe they could happen, but I just look back on what has happened, and what really seems to happen is that people just get scared and spend a lot of time in fear and paralysis waiting for this event. An event, not this great conjunction event, but anyone, right? You know, a comet, an asteroid, a plague, etc. Whereas what I'm advocating for is, okay, maybe that could happen, but don't wait around for it to happen. Just keep going through, and likely it won't happen, is my opinion. Hey, what's up, Mary? Nice to see you. Hello. Did you see my taco comment yesterday? I saw you joined last minute. I thought you might catch that. Will the conjunction have a blue tint? So even right now, blue and red are fringing on both sides of the planets, and actually right now the moon is 1.9% illuminated. It's too low for me to catch it. I'm actually going to step outside for a second, make sure I could see that. Yeah. No way, the moon's already set, but it's our first crescent today. So happy new moon. And that's why I think it's so clear out. Yesterday it was really hazy. What's up, Z Proxy? How's it going? What's up? Did anybody else join? Okay, no, that's fine. What stars are on the screen? So yeah, top left Saturn, bottom right Jupiter. I'll just put up a label anyway in one moment. And yeah. Eric Jurgensen, it would be funny if the conjunction allows plasma beings to jump from Saturn to Earth during a CME via Birkeland current. So that's not an actually bad thought, but I think it's really that it would be possible regardless, right? Since there are Birkeland currents connecting everything right now at all times, it would make sense that you could ride a Birkeland filament to and from any star, any planet, from Earth, if that were possible with, you know, a certain type of device or technology, which I think might be possible, but I don't know if it's related to ritualistic style events. Like, this is just particularly like this because of our vantage point on the spiral of the Birkeland coaxial Birkeland filament array. So Earth is at a particular place to experience this harmonic resonance of the two planets. Is it not special? No, it's definitely special. But I feel like the kind of these abstracted ideas of the abilities of all mankind or space kind or alien kind exist at all times, not in particular moments like this. Granted, I could be wrong. Eclipses or certain things like that could provide stimulated Birkeland filaments that would allow for faster travel. So definitely ways to think about that. Marky Rose says, so they're continuously getting closer. Yeah, I mean, even from last night to tonight, I barely have to rotate the camera to get them both in frame. So they're already much closer, about almost an inch on screen, I would say. So tomorrow, even closer, and ultimately they'll be like, yeah, actually a couple of inches apart on screen, I imagine, in 5-6 days, right? And then I'm wondering, and I could probably just check this, but I feel like Saturn will pass by it, or will it start retrograding? Let's see. I'm using Stellarium here, I'm selecting Saturn, and I'm jumping ahead like 5-6 days. We'll see what goes on. Also keep an eye out for satellites because I'm reading the chat. Yeah, Saturn will overtake Jupiter. And right now, so we have Saturn top left, Jupiter bottom right. On the, after the 21st, 22nd, 23rd, Saturn will creep underneath Jupiter, and then Jupiter will be top left and Saturn bottom right. So that's freaking sweet, gotta say. What's up, Vincent Omnia Veritas? Hello. When was the previous time the conjunction occurred? I have 400 years in mind. I think what I've read is that it's 800 years. But then, we live in, 2020, right? And so this idea of BC, AD, that switchover, the whole idea of the biblical references could be 2,000 years. It could be every 1,000 years. There are other references to conjunctions of Saturn and Jupiter that are every 20 years. Yeah, something happened like in May of 2000, I want to say, where they were also close. But if you read and look up rare conjunctions or rare occultations of planets, you'll see that it is actually highly rare to see something like this. Furthermore, the position of these planets to viewers on Earth is particular. So this has happened before, but it was much lower on the horizon, therefore likely no one saw it. So this is particular because it's right before sunset. There's about an hour and a half, about 20 arc degrees of traversal on the ecliptic, and so that we can see Saturn and Jupiter in full detail without a lot of aberration in the same frame. So it's almost dark here. Coming to 6:15 Eastern. Let me see if I got anybody else in chat. Why is this conjunction important? It's important simply as like a marker milestone, one, because it's rare and we get to watch it. Two, because the resonances of the planets must start to coincide at some point, not with each other necessarily, but as they're sympathetically resonating with our eye and the telescope and Earth, their Birkeland spirals are headed towards us, are kind of linked in that way. And as they get closer, there will be some sort of Birkeland coaxial interaction as their quote-unquote light reaches us or sympathetically resonates with our vibration. So there could be some sort of conscious effect. It could be effect, but it could be something that's unnoticed unless you're really in tune. It could be something that you imagine. Who knows? It's really tough to gauge conscious effects of, Mercury retrograde or Mars or the moon. People want to say things, but it's always subjective. So that's one aspect of it. And then ritualistically, it's one of those things where people like to do things on dates where there are rare events celestially, and so that just the fact that people create the specialness of this event means that consciousness is reacting in that way, even though it is manufactured. Hope that answers your question, Mary. Yep. What's up, Dendrite? That's a cool way of writing that. What's that second character? Is that a Chinese character? Anyway, same, the Great Conjunction is at the end or the beginning. It's, we're about halfway towards each other, and if you mean the end of the world at the beginning, I think every day is kind of, or every particle and every solar system and every day is a reset to some degree. It's kind of the rarefaction and compression of the wavefront as we vibrate through or along this Birkeland coaxial circuit. What's up, Patrick McNellis? Thanks for the great content. Pretty awesome moment in history. I have to concur. I do. So lucky that, I started doing scoping 5 years ago, and I've been able to capture... I've been around and have clear skies and time to capture just really, really nutty things, and this is another in the line of them. But this definitely ranks up there. Chinese spy. No, maybe it's just hard with dark mode. I can't tell if that's a character or a letter. Anyway, it's cool. Eric Jurgensen says, I've seen a plasma being, quote-unquote, turned a corner in my basement and saw a misty gray mass vanish right as I laid eyes on it. Cold plasma probably causes the water in the air to vaporize. So, just to get into that a little bit, the idea of a being, right? It's more so what is consciousness, what is intelligence, what is a being, what is a ghost, an entity, all these things. If within the electric universe, it seems like everything is an entity, right? Even if we think culturally that it's inanimate, if it makes a sound or it reacts with the ether, then it is matter and then it is conscious. So ultimately, if you wanted to just sweepingly say that there are beings and entities everywhere in the ether, in the ectoplasmic goo, then it wouldn't be wrong, I think, physically. But I would wonder, you know, the kind of nefariousness or the kind of peacefulness of this entity, right? Because there's an allusion to negativity when people suggest ghosts or entities or hauntings, right? It's not something people really want. But I would say that it's kind of both good and bad simultaneously, depending on how you look at it. What's up, Jack Who? Description is in the description. My location's in the description, but Central Florida, near Tampa Bay. And yeah, coming at you. It's 6:20 p.m. Eastern. Got clear skies tonight. A little bit of chill in the air because I know that there's this cold front, but definitely crispy. Saturn top left, Jupiter bottom right. Okay. What else? Garrett's Fishing 101. What's happening? All right, little break here. I'm going to try and keep walking, not walking, but standing up every so often because yesterday I got like really stiff sitting here for like an hour and a half. It's very easy to get lost in it. It's also dark enough now. In a few minutes, we'll zoom in and take a look at Saturn and Jupiter up close. But I feel like now is going to be all these satellites coming through. So I definitely saw a couple that are going to shoot right through the middle of Saturn and Jupiter. I know a couple that are going to streak by on the right. So that all happens over the next hour. Let's get into some older tunes. Here's Flip It for the Edge off the Calling My Mind album. Hey y'all, so I think the camera just froze up, so the stream is, I gotta turn off OBS and turn it back on again, so the stream is gonna look like it ended, but please stick around and I'll pull it back up in 2 minutes. I don't know what happened, I tried to move the scope, but it's stuck on Jupiter and Saturn. Anyway, back in a couple. Alright. Just hopping back in here to make sure it's all working. I think it is. I see Shockwave just joined us. What's happening? Just give me a thumbs in the chat. Let me know if it's coming back alright. Looks like it is. I don't know what happens. Sometimes the camera just stalls up. Anyway, back at it. We got Saturn top left, and at the 4 o'clock position you can see Titan. And then, of course, around Saturn, we got Enceladus, Dione, Tethys, Rhea, Iapetus, and other moons. Around Jupiter, let me just double check Stellarium, what's going on. Right now, just FYI, Jupiter is at 18.3 degrees apparent altitude, and Saturn's at 19.12 degrees apparent altitude. Very interesting. Yesterday, it was... Actually, let me see. Yesterday was a full, right? That's 19, and that's 18.3, right? Yeah, so like 0.2 degrees difference. So top left, actually to the left of Jupiter, at the bottom right, is Europa and Callisto on the left, and then to the right is Io and Ganymede. And I was waiting for some satellites to come through, but of course this weird glitch just happened. Hopefully it'll be okay for a moment. Just a moment. What's up, Rainbows and Butterflies? Hello, hello. What's up, Leslie Pavelko? How's it going? Shockwave says, I can't stay, I gotta play World of Tanks. Alright, enjoy, my friend. Well, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for stopping by, and have a great Christmas stuff. Oh, free Christmas stuff to get. Nice. It's already Christmas. Doesn't feel like it in Florida, that's for sure. Feels like Christmas in July here. Yeah, this is just nuts, this view. This is so sweet seeing father and son together, says Shockwave. It's great. Okay, so Patrick says, I just got goosebumps from that shot. Look at those moons. It is really just insane. I have to admit, I'm always astounded. Somebody asked me about a song. I think I got distracted. Jack Who, were you talking about the kind of like country one? Mama Came and Swept You Up, or the one I was just playing? And I'll play them back. Maybe I'll just play them both back. Alright, seems like it's working. Let's get back in the groove here. Man. Everything wants to go wrong. So silly. Or maybe you're talking about strut. Who knows? Anyway, this is called Oh Why Not, or Your Mama Came Swept You Up. We can fly. Touch the full desire. Oh, what you hold.
swept you up. You married your high school lover. Married you all some kids or something. 'Cause I never had that in me. But mama, I've been waiting for you so long. Yeah, you traveled across the seas for me, and then you left me crawling in Amsterdam beaches, waiting on the hotel floor for you. Then your mama came and swept you up. Then you went and married your high school lover. Wandered through these streets, far away from a sinking body. Dragged into this place, back from time and space. I was in line for another party. Till Mama Little came along and asked me where the hell I thought I was going. I've got nothing to hide, and nowhere sounds pretty good to me. I'm staying with the dream I make believe, the light of the moon. Flowers to your heart, the light flowers hanging out in Tetris corners, Tetris corners. The overarching columns are from Saturn and Mars. Through my glass sky bodyguard. But don't you question the whole. We'll never question the whole. Don't you question the whole.
In my heart. All right, that's an old one, Call in My Mind, off the Call in My Mind album. It's fun saying that. All right, so I figure because it's setting so quickly, and I do want to see both of them at the same time, but I had to go in for the zoom here real quick. I love the enthusiasm everybody knew who hasn't seen Saturn up close. So this is not like the best I've done, but it's pretty cool that we can see the separation of the rings, of course, in the planet, and even the outer rings has a little bit of separation, the C ring. You can see fringing, so that's the orange and the blue, light diffracting and refracting against not only the atmosphere, but also the light interacting with our ionosphere, magnetosphere, and atmosphere. All the different layers of plasma around Earth create these aberrations. So it's not just Saturn, it's Venus, Jupiter, the moon, etc., but you can see it pretty hardcore here. If I wanted to, I could remove all the saturation and we'd just see what you'd see on a CCD. But yeah, it's a little bit of Saturn up close. I'm going to move over to Jupiter, and I'm going to keep it at a clip and keep playing some tunes, but I wanted to hop in and say what's up to everybody. I see John Pershing, I see Awesome Army, and who else? Easy E, and Mikus B. What's happening? Infinite Aviation. So yeah, just what's the lowest ISO? So you can do like 800, like 160, 1 over 60, 800 is kind of like good for the moon. It's that natural level, kind of similar to what you'd see with the naked eye. Here for Saturn, especially when it's low against the horizon, you have to kind of lower and open the aperture a bit more. So 1 over 30, 30th of a second, and 1600 ISO is kind of the lowest, where you get kind of brightness, but it's not blown out, right? So you can even see the middle ring around the center planet. Quick opportunity, let me see if I can't just sketch some Birkeland filaments as I see them, because this is really what's so cool about understanding the electric plasma universe. Where's my paint program? Come back to me now. No, that's not it. So right, NASA calls these magnetic ropes, but in the electric universe they are coaxial Birkeland currents, or Birkeland filaments. And what we're not seeing in this shot is these twisting electric cables or root systems that go through and power Saturn from the outside. The reason we know this is because Saturn has telltale signs. Of course, there's the Cassini missions, and then we can see it ourselves, but this ring is induced by the dielectric inertial plane right here. It's impinged upon by counter space, a countersink, and it creates this torus shape and a hypotrochoid, which is a compressed cylinder, and it looks like an hourglass shape. So this is the energy that exists. Not energy, these are the magnetic field lines. This is also the conjugate geometry of the inherent structure of our reality. I've explained it a lot in different videos if you're new, but please ask me questions, but I just wanted to show this quickly on top of Saturn. So I'm going to hide this and move over to Jupes, and we'll see if the Great Red Storm will grace us tonight. Well, I imagine them. It's like the They Live glasses or the code in the Matrix. That's how I view this shape, right? If you superimpose this torus and the hypotrochoid, and you understand how it works, then you can view consciousness, reality, space, the tiny, the large, words, feelings, chakras, you name it, through this one geometry. So I share that with you because only a few people will understand, and most people are not going to understand. And what's interesting about that is that even though that's the case, that case is determined by this actual geometry. So think about how much counter space is impinging upon the actual matter, the physical matter that we see in Saturn right now. Around it is a much larger shape, like pushing it down and creating the visible spectrum that we see. And that's like the masses and the people who understand, right? Both are necessary, but not everybody can be enlightened. What's happening? Who did I miss? I see Kimmy. What's happening? And my coffee is cold. Yeah, special DNA, exactly. That's what DNA is. That's how we are powered from our crown chakra. That's where we receive information from and cycle energy through this conjugate geometric structure around our body. And outside our body is consciousness and memory. I know I'm spewing a lot of stuff, but I'm happy to go into any topic if you'd like to. This is some syncopated television, and let's check out some jupes up close. Look at nebula, you'll see that the dust and these and the stars kind of adhere to these shapes, or not kind of, they absolutely adhere to these shapes. So here you can see the moons of Jupiter, or the 4 Galilean moons that are visible to us besides this other 75. But the moons appear along the dielectric inertial plane. Nobody really, like when you talk about popular science, people don't really understand why there are orbits or where moons exist or why they exist in a certain type of orbit. And this explains why, because they're located in different shells of plasma around the central oscillator, Jupiter. So I'm going quick because they're setting so fast, and I just want to show the Saturnian system momentarily so we can see some Titan, Rhea, Dione, and all the Saturnian moons. And then I'm going to quickly shoot back to the wide shot before it completely hits the tree line. Shout outs to everybody in the chat. Holloway Arts, Sue Hill, great to see you. NGC, great to see you. And Jedi Princess, awesome. Hope you're having a great night. Ryan, much love. All right, this is right now southwest for me. It's closer to west even, like southwest. Yeah. All right, what song? Let's do "Trying to Forgive." Still same album.
I was stolen by the rock star. Don't know what they're killing for. Staring up at the familiar lights, enormous. Don't make me pay the cost. Don't wanna live another day. Of course, but what does it all mean? Is it all just one bad dream? I'm trying to forgive, locking my lips to break them apart. You're down into orbit, sparkle and tricks to sweeten the spores. Dying to forgive, eyes of the world, just let it go cold. Stuck in this orbit, sinking the coiling, darling, just break my heart anymore. I can't take it. I believe it after. I can't take it. Where does this feeling come from? Where do I get the right to ask such outrageous questions? Where does this feeling get me? How do I know it's right to ask such crazy questions? Where will this feeling get me? Oh, where will this feeling get me? Now I know I have the right to ask those outrageous questions. But I'm trying to forgive, locking those lips to break them apart. I'm trying to orbit, sparkle and tricks to sweeten the spore. Dying to forgive, eyes of the world, just let it go. Stuck
All right, damn, I feel like I'm racing tonight, but here we go. Last shot of the planets for tonight as they go behind the trees. And you could even see the top of the trees when I was focusing. But yeah, glad we got to do this one last group shot. Group photo, everybody. Let me adjust this just a bit more. Is it sharp? It's mostly sharp. Well, Jupiter's aberrating because of the tree line. The tree line. What's happening, chat room? Yeah, TBS space disc, TJ. No, right? The defocused laser disc of my space. What's up, American Life Videos? How's it going? Charlie Silverman, what's happening? Those are the droids we're looking for. Yes. All right, that's all I see. Let me know if I missed you. Anyway, yeah, let's ride this one out, and let me know if you have any questions or thoughts about the electric universe or astronomy or whatnot. Definitely check archive videos if you're new. There's a ton of good stuff. I have playlists that are very organized. I'll drop one link for y'all from which I'm just going to keep pushing this one video. I think because it kind of makes sense. You don't have to go too deep to get a sense of what this channel is. So yeah, 6 more days till they get even closer and more. Actually, I think tomorrow they'll be within 2 more degrees, right? So it might not even have to tilt the camera, which will be best. And when it's tilted, it's a little bit tough to keep everything aligned because you have to like gauge where it is. I'm just looking for this best of. Here we go. Oh, I know. We can talk about art and design in relation to Electric Universe. This is Genghis Khan's question. Let me look that up after I share this with you. So copy that. Go and check this video if you haven't seen it before. This is basically the top 20 things I've captured, all in a row in a neat little, 5-minute video. And let me just look up what Genghis asked me. I think it was 2 days ago. Let me mute that. Yeah, Gin says, fun times with the TBS tribe. As far as what would be cool to hear your view on would be music/sound in relation to the EU, and art/human designs in relation to the EU. Keep jamming, Captain of the Stars. Thank you so much for that comment. I'm going to also say thanks to Hans Koning, new sub, for leaving such a nice comment after that. All right, so when it comes to music and sound in relation to the EU and art and human designs, that is a really deep topic. It's something that would take a whole show. But the nutshell of it is that this structure, this geometric structure that I draw constantly, the torus or the donut, that is superimposed on a hypotrochoid or an hourglass shape or a pinched tube, is inherent to all design and all music. The way it's related is that if you look at letters or if you look at numbers, they're made out of these shapes. If you look at molecules, they're made out of hexagons. And over the next few days, the moon is going to be up, and so I'm going to show more of the hexagons on the moon and draw more of these shapes. But really, I think, so when I do music, I always imagine these cymatic encoded imprints along plasma layers. I also imagine that chords and scales and structures on the guitar, for example, are organized in these plasma layers through intervals, through sympathetic resonance, through all sorts of different types of like measures, beats, time signatures. These are all structurally and physically manifest through this geometry. Then furthermore, the kind of je ne sais quoi of writing music, right, that feeling or the tapping into flow or tapping into the ether, right? When it comes to inspiration or a melody, for example, is nicely described by picking sound out of silence, right? It's like carving words onto a page. And for me, when I write, I kind of always imagine all the space around the notes. Even though I have a lot of songs that are just very muddy and overlaid, there's constantly kind of figuring out the spaces between things. So that's how you do that. That's how I learned how to do odd time signatures and polymetric rhythms, is by imagining that you can divide and chop things up ad infinitum, depending on how you look at it. And then furthermore, yeah, so the kind of imagining of these sounds out of silence, and then furthermore creating sticky or catchy tunes that really are more just complicated fractals, and that only a certain number of people or entities will be able to sympathetically resonate with these fractals that I manifest here. That's sort of how I look at it. And yeah, and in terms of art, really, it's almost so obvious at this point. Like if you do Photoshop or Illustrator, or if you work in any type of medium, that you'll see the basic shapes, right? There are platonic shapes, there are squares, hexagons, octagons, and you have the building blocks. You have tetrahedrons, you have lines, vertices, segments, and we build complex shapes out of these very simple ones. And in a way, I think it's way more powerful than this idea that numbers create everything versus, the shape of the geometry that actually can be described with numbers. But actually, it's the geometry that shapes reality, not really numbers. Numbers actually are derived from that geometry. So it's a different way of looking at things. I think popular science is really stuck on this idea of intellectualism, and a lot of it is pseudo-intellectualism, because if you really press some of the popular scientists, and I mean, if you press somebody like Lawrence Krauss, or you press somebody like Neil deGrasse Tyson, I would imagine they don't put a lot of thought into, the problems with Big Bang cosmology. They don't put a lot of thought into potential aspects of the plasma universe. There's no reason. I used to think, they suck for not doing it. But I realized, they have no reason to look into anything. They're making money off entertaining people, remixing old ideas, right? Why would you ever spend any time looking into anything new if you can keep banking on that? So that's a little bit of a nutshell on that. What's happening in Australis? Really beautiful explanation. I appreciate that. Thank you. Charlie says, yeah, man, the bits between the bits, exactly. Till there is no bitter. The yo no sé qué that keeps me coming back. Oh, Mary, thank you. Mary, you've been coming to the stream for so many years. It's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And let's see. Jedi Princess has the city tonight. Hope you're doing well. Who else we got? Yeah, so I put up the top 20 clips of TakeBackSpace. If you've seen it, it's fine. If you think somebody might enjoy it, please ship that clip along. And leave me comments in this video about stuff you want me to talk about tomorrow. There might be a storm tomorrow, actually, so we'll see if I'm streaming, but definitely the day after, and there'll be a crescent moon. So I'm excited for that. I got to see some Saturn and Jupiter tonight, another just unbelievable vision. I appreciate everybody new, all the lurkers, all the people who don't like this channel and thumbs it down. You're still important. And yeah, new music soon, I hope. I'm kind of working on it slowly, going through all the old songs that I never released because I'm like, oh, that last chorus, I could fix that. Or oh, that vocal line is just a little too loud, or any number of things like that. They just, a lot of them have that last 5-10%. So going through that, and yeah. Check the question above your link. Let me see. AL American Life Videos H says, yo, you ever see when Procyon, Castor, and Pollux for a triangle with the moon in the middle? Well, I feel like, just off the top of my head, Castor and Pollux are northern stars, right? They're like almost vertical for me at any given time. So I've never actually, when I first started scoping, I did point the scope directly up and try and catch Castor and Pollux, but it was rough. It's difficult to kind of get that angle. And Procyon, I've definitely seen Procyon, and I've actually streamed Procyon coming into frame in the east. But seeing Castor, Pollux, and Procyon with the moon in the middle is no. Like, I don't think I've ever seen that. I probably would have streamed it. That is still insane. Actually, let me quickly... I kept a recording on the camera of Orion because I captured it last night, or 2 nights ago, and tonight it's really tough to catch because it's all the way on the east, but I will show you guys a pre-recorded clip of a recent M42 nebula while I'm ending the show. Let's see, over here, get to... All right, so this is Hatsia, which is in the sword of Orion. Everyone kind of looks at Orion's belt, the 3 bright stars, but really this is the main thing that we can see, this M42 nebula or the Great Orion Nebula. The 4 stars in the middle that look like a cluster, that's the trapezium cluster. And then you can really see live nebula, or rather slightly pre-recorded nebula. But yeah, let's leave this on for a few minutes while I wind the show down. American Life Videos, I hope I answered your question about Procyon and Castor and Pollux. One day when I have like a proper backyard and I can point the scope directly north or directly 90 degrees, get some really interesting shots of stars. Like right now, Mars is almost at an apex for me. It's almost impossible to capture because it's above my house. Let's see, did I miss anybody? You hear some helis in the background, lots of helicopters. All right, last couple of songs here. Let me play something. Let me do some new songs. Something from the recents. And furthermore, like that geometry that I sketched, you can put it right on top of this and it makes sense as well. Because this whole half of Orion is kind of on a giant Birkeland filament, and we can see it live, right? We can see the structure form along these lines. Just adjust it a little bit here. And even the colors are due to the fact that it's resonating with us at that frequency. So there's this idea that these stars are dead and light takes forever to reach us, but I think it's different. I think that we actually connect with Orion directly. And the light that we see is the light that we see. It's not old light. It's just the light. It's just now. How can I not find any new songs? Here we go. Will-powered. All right. This is for my faves.
Do you know why I've been beaten from the heart? I know, no lie. I've been thinking about you all night. Why? No, I've been waiting for your white light. No, I've been thinking that you should be mine. So call me up, 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 and let's get down, 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 down. So call me up, 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 and let's get down, 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 down. Oh, you send me messages across the cosmic network, and you send me pictures from across the astral plane, and you send me cryptic kisses across the matching network. So call me up, 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 and let's get down, 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 down. So call me up, 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 and let's get down, 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 down. Je t'attends, mon amour, intellectuel, assis dans mon canapé ciment, agitant la éternelle, avec mon ensemble. Je suis là même, dans l'avant-l'aile chaque jour. Je t'attends, mon amour, avec les mecs sans agréver. Et c'est mon âme magnétique, c'est l'amour magnétique, c'est mon amour magnifique. Cool running, no warning, you wouldn't, 'cause what is rooted, whatever it takes. Please, I've been dreaming from the heart. No lie, been beaten from the hot eyes. No why, no why, no why. So call me up, 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 and let's get down, 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 down. So call me up, 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 and let's get down, 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 down.
All right, y'all. That's it for me. I'm gonna go grab some dinner. This is a really super fun show tonight. Gonna keep it bite-sized, an hour 20. Hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Gonna hop in and try and say goodnight to everybody. Aram Vorax and TJ and Hans and Australis and American Life Videos, Z Proxy, Rainbows and Genghis Khan and Shiloh Howrah and Jedi Princess and Patrick McNellis and Mary Quite, and I know Kimmy was here. I know TJ was here. Maybe I said that twice. Who else? NGC, I see you. Charlie Silverman, thank you. And Sue Hill. Who else we got? I know Debbie Carson was here. Dendrite was here. Infinite Aviation. John Pershing. Awesome Army. Easy E. Man, lots of people tonight. Leslie, Jack Who, Shockwave, and I think that's all I got. Eric Jurgensen. If I missed you, let me know. Leave me a comment. I really appreciate that. Share the stream. I also appreciate that. Try not to beg here, but I think it's actually good if some more people see the stream. So, yeah, I definitely thank you all for that. Buddy Doggerty, good night, brother. Just caught the end. My parents love you and say that you sound reminiscent of Bowie on some songs. That is like a really huge compliment. Thank you. Well, I'll be playing some more, and yeah, I'll do a live show over the full moon, hopefully on the 11-inch. Have a great rest of your night, friends. Let's. I'm gonna play this one out with Dream Fields, right? No, Electric Blood is a short one. All right. Good night, Space Fam. Catch you soon.
I've been waiting on the street for days. Don't treat me like a fool. I've been sleeping on the streets for days. Don't treat me so cruel. I've been waiting on the porch for days. Don't treat me like you're cool. I've been waiting on the sea for years. I've been waiting for the secret all along. And you know what I'm saying? Don't you know what the song can sing? Singing about this dream so long for you. I've been dreaming about the song. So long for you, I've been singing about the song. So long for you, I've been dreaming about the one with you. I've been singing about this dream. So long for you.